For the record, we saw the B-52 coming this week.
Well, I was going to tell you, actually, the other thing I had was, when I used to clerk across the street, one of the best things one of the judges told me, it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So when I saw people asking permission, it kind of threw my game off. But I was going to wait and ask for it at the end. But I guess now that we've cleared it.
Start his time already now. Yes. So you didn't count.
There we go.
That didn't count.
That's okay. I've given closing arguments in wrongful death cases at 20 minutes. My name is Victor Hairapetian, and I want to share a few of my thoughts with you, but not so much to go over what some of the other speakers can say. I took some notes at the beginning, and Mayor, you had said that this topic is very important, it's contentious, and it affects people's lives. Very big words. We've got approximately 6 police officers in the room right now to keep the peace. So it's important. I think we can all agree on that. What I would like to do is take the experience that I had from Just Cause, which constantly keeps just being thrown around. We can kind of do this and incorporate Just Cause, and it'll be tied to Just Cause and Just Cause this and Just Cause that. Isn't it interesting that Just Cause back then was really rent control? Make no mistake. Those words were used repeatedly. We got a qualified group of people together. We worked through a series of meetings, not with hundreds of people involved, not some extended task force, people that are in the trenches every day. And we came up with a solution, not a happy solution, but a solution that did not have bullhorns and speakers and people pounding on council members' doors and on their desks. I sent you folks a letter a couple weeks ago saying that I would like to continue to volunteer whatever expertise I have, as well as others, to kind of make this progress a smooth one, not only for landlords, but for tenants. My current practice is 50-50, okay? I've done this for both sides. I've seen how it plays out. What I'd like to suggest, though, instead of the moratorium, is some ideas that you can grasp onto. The most obvious concern that we have, and the reason that we're here, is these crazy rent increases. You have people that have gone up 40–50%. Why has it gone up? Well, because they are confident that the city of Glendale offers a higher value for living, higher value for housing, higher value for its people. That's the only reason an investor is going to spend that much money, buy overpriced, come in, and still spend money to renovate with the hope that the return is justified. And it's because it's Glendale. You don't see this problem in other cities. So that investor has to come in and has to justify that investment. Unfortunately, the justification creates a problem. So how do we solve it? Number one, if you're going to raise a person's rent, we understand the cost of living element. If you're going to raise someone's rent drastically, you cannot do it within 60 days, period. That's unreasonable. I think that's something that we could all agree. Forget being here in council chambers. Assume we're sitting at Starbucks and talking, okay? If we were sitting around and said someone's rent went up 40% or a mortgage went up by 40–50%, that's it. That person is underwater, period. But if you give them time, maybe they're underwater, maybe they're not. If it's not their property and they have competition that they can choose from, guess what's going to happen? They're going to go to the next best option. The other option to give, so that we don't stymie the market, because I have been contacted by people that have canceled escrow. So the last 2 weeks has already shown a very real effect. We can provide an incentive. Years ago when I was Cause, when we had the rent control advocates, these people showed up and then they disappeared by the 3rd month. And then it was left to us, those of us that were kind of balanced, to propose things. I proposed a relocation ordinance, which is the relocation provision that you have in the ordinance was proposed by me. I proposed a formula that would actually have been higher today, but it was lower back then. They chose a different formula because at that point in time what was best for their interest was a higher number, not looking in the long-term interest. You can use the relocation without stymieing the process. Have the developers or the new purchaser come in, but understand that there is going to be a balance, a counterbalance. If you're going to relocate someone, because that's what they're really doing. They're raising these rents with the hope that it They say, I can't pay this, or I'm not going to pay this. I'm moving so that they can empty the entire building. They can hit the project all at once. How about we create provisions that say, if you're going to take that type of a measure, then there has to be a responsible landlord side of that. Something that, again, if we were sitting at Starbucks, we would say, this person should be given an option. I met with council members that say, I've had the person come into my office and they brought their 2 children. How can I let this person go from $1,400 to $2,600? How can I do that in my good conscience? And I asked them one question. I said, if that person was to receive a $7,500, for instance, relocation assistance, would that person still be in your office, or would they be looking for the next option? Once you attach this percentage thing, understand, it's rent control. It smells like rent control. And the other thing is, people are going to hold you to percentages in the future. There's 4 ideas here right now with 1 that's already left. Okay?
Wrap it up.
Right, for right now, he's left. But there's 4 ideas. If you pass something that has a percentage, understand whether this is a 6-month moratorium or an 18-month moratorium, you have now established a bar. People are going to come back and say, where's the percentage? They don't care about right to lease. They don't care about anything. You're going to set an expectation. There's been ideas of subsidized housing and all this other stuff. Give it time. Let us go through the process. We've talked about right to lease. There's some good ideas out there. Formulate that, incorporate that into a mechanism that works so that you have the same effect you had with Just Cause. That 14 years from now, if someone has to come back here, they say, well, geez, when they passed that, they didn't bug City Council anymore.
Let's wrap it up.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Levon